You're welcome back to the Naija Filmmaker, the podcast for us to talk about Nigerian filmmakers, their films, and how we can build a diverse and functional industry. I'm your host, Sele. On this episode, I'll be talking about pre-production, some key steps that you should take, and I'll also share some updates from the pre-production of my web series. If you're a new listener, you're welcome, and I hope you enjoy. Pre-production is a step that begins immediately after story development, which involves you fleshing out the story idea or buying the rights to a book and then turning that into a script. So essentially, pre-production is the planning and execution of certain steps that must take place before production begins. The first step of pre-production is for you to lock your script. This means that you have gone through several drafts and most of the changes have been implemented. It is still possible for you to edit things when you're already pre-producing, but nothing too major. The next step is to finalize the budget. Having a figure in mind helps you to know the kind of cast and crew that you can hire on this job, the kind of locations you're shooting, and also what equipment you'll be able to afford. So at this point, the producer has to hire key department heads, which include but is not limited to the director, the cinematographer, the sound mixer, the casting director, and the production designer. You then have to break down your script into its various elements, which include the cast, the location, the props, costumes, set design, vehicles, VFX, and possibly animals. You can use production software such as Movie Magic Scheduling or Studio Binder. This helps you have a grander idea about the various elements that you need to put together this film. Depending on your role on the film, your pre-production part might vary, but if you're the director, the next thing for you to do is to create a storyboard and have a short list. This will inform the amount of time you need to spend on set and also what equipment you need to rent. After storyboarding and shortlisting, you then need to scout and secure locations. At this point, you can scout for locations by yourself or you can hire location scouts. With a location scout, you already have somebody that has contacts in the industry and can get locations at very good prices for you. The next step is to cast actors and hire crew. For casting, the first step is to put out a casting call and then, run your auditions and possibly do callbacks. Working with a casting director is really helpful because they know a lot of actors, and after reading your script, they already know who could possibly deliver on those roles, and they'll make suggestions to you, but the final say is with the director. With hiring crew, what is normally done is that the department heads are given the freedom to hire personnel in their departments. If you're working on a no to low budget, then this would mean that you're calling friends to fill the different essential roles on set. So your production is taking shape. You have finalized the budget, you have hired department heads, broke down your script, secured locations, and gotten your cast and crew. Get permits for these locations you're going to use and also insurance. The next thing for you to do is to schedule your shoot days. This will be informed by cast availability, budget constraints, which means if you only have the equipment for a week, then you technically try to squeeze the whole production into that week. This is an opportunity for you to get really creative, and I must say the possibilities are really endless. So there's no rule about how many days you need to spend on pre-production, but it is generally advised that you spend as much time doing this because this is a make or break moment for your film and you want to be prepared for every eventuality. So one of the last things you do is to do a technical scout. So this is going with the heads of department to check out each and every location and assessing what constraints the location presents and what special equipment you'll need. After this, you need to arrange for equipment rentals, and from the moment that the equipment arrives, money is being spent. This whole pre-production process officially ends when you roll the camera on the first day of the shoot. So more about my web series. At this point, I have 10 more days of pre-production, and this past week has been really productive with trying to get locations and permits. For tomorrow, we are going to be holding our auditions, and I'm hopeful that we find the actors that we need to bring this story to life. In the coming days, I'll also finalize my shortlist and storyboard, and also hold the production meeting and do a tech scout. Hopefully in the future, once I've finished shooting this, I'll probably bring on some of the key cast and crew members to talk about how the whole process was. So now for some final tips on pre-production. The first one is for you to have a backup plan for everything, which includes actors and locations. In the event that something goes wrong, you want to be able to calmly resolve it and move on with your production, because any delays could be really costly to you. The next step is for you to sort out contracts. This is where you agree with members of the cast and crew on how much they'll be paid and what credit they are going to get on the film. Generally, you won't be able to sell the film if you don't have contracts for every person that worked on the production. A final tip is for you to make a business plan for your film, or better still, just a distribution plan which states out how you plan for people to see this film. It is really important. A lot of effort has gone into this process, and you want the audience to enjoy this. So during pre-production, come up with a distribution plan or make a business plan for the film. I wish you all the best on your next film, and remember, the outcome of your film is totally reliant on you taking full control of this pre-production process. We have come to the end of this episode. Please remember to leave a rating and a review. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Sele Film, and the podcast also on Instagram and Twitter, the Naija Film Pod. See you on the next episode. Have a good one.